This is a Testosterone podcast with Noel, Keith, and Steve. Take it away, dudes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 20 of the Testosterone podcast. Believe it or not, guys, we made it to 20. Believe it or not.
I can't believe it. It feels like just an hour ago we were doing episode 19.
I know. Time flies.
It's weird how time flies.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so we've got a pretty cool show planned for everybody. So we'll bring back the team correspondent again for this episode. We're going to talk about some man food that pleases the ladies. We're going to do a little product review with Keith and then our usual joke session there at the end. So, So the fun stuff. Keith, how's the weather out your way?
You know, it's crazy. We actually got rain.
Wow.
I didn't know what it was.
Really?
We heard this thing and we thought, oh my goodness, you know, the sky's falling. And it was great. And the grass is not brown. I don't even know what that means. I thought they were supposed to be. I know. And I Googled it, and sure enough, green is actually a color. So that's cool.
Wow.
Noel, how about your way?
Well, we actually got some rain last night too. Actually, we were
Nice.
Yeah, the wind about blew a lot, and then we got some rain, and it was quick, but it didn't really cool things off. It just made it more humid. So
Yeah,
you know,
it's brutal.
It's just gross. This time of year is to be endured, not to be enjoyed. That's for sure. So, Steve, I don't even know if we want to hear about your weather. I'm too jealous, man.
Well, you know, we're 3 for 3 on rain. It also rained here. It warmed up to a balmy 51 degrees today. So
Nice.
that was fun.
Break out the bikinis.
It was light jacket day today instead of heavy jackets. So it was appreciated.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice weather. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Man.
kidding, right?
Absolutely.
I will take your summers, but I will definitely take our winters.
Yeah,
that's
no, I
true.
totally agree. And moving up here in the middle of January in the deepest part of the winter was brutal. It was like getting thrown to the fire, but the fire was ice. But
Yeah,
That was almost deep.
yeah,
it was really good, actually.
Hey, I'm impressed.
So, Noel, I know we have a team correspondent with us sitting a couple feet to your left or right. I don't know which way it is there. But, we got some little special planned for her, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. We are pleased to have her back. She was here several episodes ago. Many episodes ago.
Many moons.
Many moons ago, she was joining us. So, and she's back, and we're excited to have her back. And we're going to talk about what we're doing this time. Teenage Correspondent is we are going to do what's called a reverse Teen Correspondent. And so, instead of you coming up with a word, we're going to come up with a word or phrase that we used in our time as a teenager, and we're going to let you guess what it means and try to come up with it and try to use it in a phrase. So, Keith, do you want to introduce it, or does Steve, do you want to introduce it?
Keith, go for it.
You know, I have one for you. How are you, by the way?
I'm pretty good.
Very good. So tell us first, before we do all this fun stuff, how'd the school year end? What's the plans for this summer? What's the future look like short term? Not a life story.
I finished with good grades. Shocking. And
Is that really shocking, or are
So
you being
humble.
sarcastic?
So humble.
I don't know.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I only had to take one final instead of none, was what happened last year. I was kind of mad, but it's okay. But this summer, I really don't have anything besides the cruise and band.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's awesome, though.
She had
So
she had summer band today.
No, we
No
had
way.
mini camp. It wasn't it wasn't the 8 hours of band. It was only 3 hours.
But y'all were up there in the band playing your show music and stuff today, right?
Yeah.
Golly.
That's wild. That's
Isn't
so early.
I know. They just got out of school and they're back.
Luckily, it's only 2 days, though.
Yeah,
And that's
geez.
fun. It's not like school. That's still getting to hang out with your buds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I heard you did good, too, with didn't you have a tryout, too?
Yes, I moved up a band.
Yes.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
That was very cool.
very proud of you. Ow.
Have you put
So,
high fives in the new
Steve,
car?
is the one that you sent me the one that we're going to use,
No.
or is that a different one? Because now I'm confused.
I've got the
Okay, I've got it. Okay. So here's what we're going to do, Teenage Correspondent. I'm going to tell you a phrase that we used because back then it was cool, and what we want you to do is try to guess what it is, what it means.
Okay.
And then you've got to use it in a sentence, and then we're taking it a step further, just like we did last week. Since you're doing when is your next summer band mini camp?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, perfect.
That's perfect timing. So you now, since we got to use yours in a work environment, you get to try it on your friends tomorrow and report back to us what in the world they look at you like. So your word and your phrase, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Gag me with a spoon.
It's the one time I wish this was a video and you can see her face.
What do you think it means?
This is fun.
I wish we had video too.
I know, man. It's awesome.
Does it mean
Oh boy.
gag me with this? Do you say that to someone when, like, either they say something dumb or you say something dumb?
Kind of.
No, it's like, but you're supposed to
Not
guess like
really.
what it means. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
you're supposed to take a guess.
It means that. Oh my god, I have no idea.
Gag me with the spoon.
Oh, when someone is like, "Oh, I can do this better than you," and you're like, "Oh, well, gag me with a spoon, dude."
Well,
No.
so
To me, it's not
Noel-
even cooler by putting dude on the end.
I know.
Yeah, really.
I know. Word. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right.
So, Noel, what do you think?
No, that's a no.
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 Oh,
Go
What
ahead
do
and
you-
help her out.
Yeah, so it means like gross. Like
Yeah.
if you were like to say, I can't think of a sentence or something like that, but like not our mom, but somebody else's mom, like my mom's cooking is like, ugh, gag me with the spoon. Like she
That's
put
right.
that in front of me. I didn't want to eat it. I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
gag me with the spoon.
Gag me with the spoon. Those were the ugliest shoes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That
It's supposed to
makes
express
sense.
disgust.
See?
Total
It's supposed to
disgust.
express disgust.
Okay,
So
yeah.
now you can use it and you can teach all your friends that and they'll think
That's right.
you're the coolest thing ever.
You're going to bring it back. It's going to be awesome again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's going to come back. It's going to be on the Twitter and the Instagram,
That's right. That's right. Totally.
The Facebook.
the Facebook.
The
You don't even do the Facebook. So,
Yeah, you
all right.
don't. What is your social media of choice?
Instagram or Snapchat or
Okay.
Twitter. I don't
Okay.
use Twitter as much as I use Instagram, though.
Yeah, I've just how Snapchat I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
gonna
don't
throw it
even
out there.
have it, so I don't
It
either.
is. Yeah, I don't even understand it. That's okay though.
So Twitter, all you do is just like post pictures of yourself or like things you're doing.
That's Instagram.
That's more Instagram.
That's Instagram.
You
You said Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've just recently kind of used Instagram more. I really, you had a good point. People like pictures. You said that the other
Totally.
day, and
It's a visual world.
yeah,
Man.
and it's fun. It's actually a fun thing. I've really enjoyed it too. So it is a lot of fun. So
Love them pictures.
well, I can't wait, Teenage Correspondent, to hear their reactions when
Yeah.
they probably look the other
Please
way
let
and
us
walk
know.
quickly. Yeah, please let us
Yeah.
know. So
Okay, I definitely will.
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you have a joke to save it for later? But do you have a joke?
Yes, I do.
All right. She's
Awesome.
gonna stick around. She's gonna stick around for joke time later.
That's the spirit.
Whatever.
Steve, I understand you have a man food that is pleasing to the ladies. I'm like kind of intrigued on what this means.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. So, we talked about in episode 19 about how we've all joined the gym and trying to be healthier. And, for various reasons, I was forced to change my diet, and then my wife decided to start doing the same thing. And so we really wanted to find a way to eat some of our favorite foods, but have a healthier twist to it, something that, you know, we're following the keto diet for the most cases. And my wife's always loved chicken piccata. And chicken piccata is a Italian dish, and it's a breaded chicken, and it's not low in calories and carbs and all that stuff. So I decided to come up with a way to make it without having to bread it and make it healthier. And so the recipe is pretty simple. There's really just 4 items that you need. And it's 3 chicken breasts. You slice those up. 2 lemons. You squeeze the juice out of it. A small jar of capers and some butter. And it's real simple. You throw the butter in the pan, get it going, throw the chicken, let the chicken cook up. As it's about 2/3 of the way of the cooking process, you want to add all the lemon juice. Then you throw the capers on. And you want to let the capers of all the juice just sort of simmer together for about 10 minutes or so. Put it on low, put the lid on it, and just let it go. It's super easy. Maybe takes at the most 10 minutes to prepare it. And so it was a quick dish. And I'll tell you what, we don't need to bread it. It was so good to us. And because we're trying to eat healthier, we bought some the cauliflower rice and made cauliflower mash.
So I've heard about this more and more.
Yeah.
Tell me about
the cauliflower mash.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was very skeptical the first time I had it because, mashed potatoes, they're pretty darn good by themselves. And so, it really is simple. I mean, you throw, in this case, 5 cups of cauliflower rice. It's basically just, head of cauliflower that's just cut down to, the shape of rice, the rice kernels, whatever you call it. And you just microwave it, until it's soft. You mash it up, and then you either add sour cream and cheese to it, or you can put cream cheese. Variety of different options out there, and it's, it doesn't taste like mashed potatoes, but it tastes great. It is a very similar consistency to it, and certainly a much healthier option, and in many cases very low in carbs, and of course no sugar, which is important to me. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Just, as we started eating better, we decided that going out to eat is something we needed to stop doing all the time. And so it's required us to plan ahead and anticipate what we're going to eat from one day to the next. We can never get halfway through the day and say, hey, we need to think about dinner tonight. We sort of know a couple of days in advance what our plan is, what we need to thaw out, what sounds good, what we're sort of craving. And, we have a lot more salad than I ever want to have. But, but the more we do this, we're finding more things that are compliant to our diet. And so it's sort of the fun of it is finding something new that we like and adding it to our routine. And it's pretty good stuff. So yeah, if you haven't tried the cauliflower mash, do it. If you want to have a nice little dinner with the lady, make the chicken piccata, man. It's super easy and tastes great.
It sounds good. And, I'm interested in trying. I think we all, the portions on when you go out to eat are just out of control big. And, I've been trying to even just split some of those up to where as soon as I'm full, I stop and get a to-go box and eat the rest for like the lunch the next day. So, but still, like you're saying, everything is so heavy, and just to be able to plan your meal, that's the challenge that my wife and I have had. We have tried to start out good. And then life starts happening, and everything gets in the way. But yeah, I mean, if you can plan and do the right thing, I just feel better after it's a home cooked meal.
Totally. We talked about, I can't remember which episode it was, about the reverse sear for preparing a steak. And Friday night, my wife and I went out to dinner, and I may have told you all this, but when we went out to dinner, she ordered a steak. And we've turned to such steak snobs now after cooking it through the reverse sear method that, we spent $30 on a steak that we probably could have spent the same amount of money on 3 or 4 steaks and done it ourselves and liked it much more than what we had Friday night. It's crazy how we've turned into steak snobs because of it.
It's so good though.
It really is.
I did a steak the other night the wrong way, and I just didn't. And it was a thin steak,
Oh, yeah.
and it just wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It turns you into a steak snob.
Yeah, totally. No, you okay over there?
So, yeah, I know. I wonder what's happening. There seems some activity in the Knoll house over there.
I was multitasking while you're, I saw the video that you posted on Twitter. The soccer players,
God, that's hilarious. I mean,
and I showed it to our teenage correspondent. We were both having a laugh. I'm sorry,
Keith. We need to share that from our Twitter account because it's.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
dude,
that was hilarious.
I laughed for half hour over that.
I mean, just the fact that wasn't even planned. I mean, that was like it just happened, and somebody got that. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Yeah. So for our listeners, we'll post this. It's a kid. Steve, you have to describe it because you're the one that.
Yeah. I mean, it's shoot. I don't know how old these kids are. 6, 7 years old, maybe, and they're all, if you watch kids that age play soccer, it's basically a horde of kids gather around a soccer ball, just moving around. You rarely see the soccer ball, but this guy, this kid, he just, every time he kicked the ball, it would hit another kid in the face, and then the private parts, whatever. Oh, it was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
He took out like three kids and three straight kicks. I mean, it was. Kid is a force to be reckoned with, man.
Yeah, no kidding, man. We're pulling a China shop.
Yeah,
that was We'll post that. I'll put that up tonight.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's funny.
So, Keith, I know we've been looking forward to doing a new product review. I understand you have one you'd like to share with us today.
Yeah, I was trying to think about what product to talk about, and there's a lot of product reviews for a lot of similar things, a lot of things that people use every day. So I thought this time I'm gonna try to talk about something that's kind of unique, that's probably not very well known, but I have really enjoyed using it, and it is a product called the GoTenna. Have you all heard of this?
No, I've never heard of that.
So. The GoTenna is a product. It's about, how would I describe it? It's about the size. Well, there's a couple of different ones, and I'll explain them. But they're about the size of a thick highlighter. Okay, and they're basically an antenna for use with your cell phone. So when you go anywhere that doesn't have cell service, you all can still communicate via text message.
Oh wow!
And so, for instance, we ordered some last year, Noel, when we went on that cruise together in our families.
Oh yeah.
So, do you remember us having that? Did I show you this?
I do. I do remember that.
Yeah. So this is so you charge them just like you charge a cell phone, and then they're a little stick that pairs up. There's an app that GoTenna has, and you download the app, and it can be an Android, it could be iOS or what have you, and you basically pair this antenna up with your smartphone. And the way you do it is through the app, and so it uses the Bluetooth to pair it up. But the nice thing about this is that if you go off grid, so for instance, we wanted to try to kind of keep in touch with each other. We took one cruise line that didn't really have this text ability. Some other cruise lines now have come up with the ability to have an app to where you can do text messages throughout the vessel. Well, the one that we were on didn't have that yet. And so we thought, well, let's try to use this. And so we, my son and I had one that we tried. And so we had two of them that we split. So basically, we each had one, and so this way, when we were, on the deck of the ship or whatever, and we were, there's a mob on the ship, and we're trying to communicate with each other, we can actually send a text message, and instead of being through a cellular service, it beams through this antenna from your antenna to the other person's antenna, and so that way you can communicate back and forth through it, and it worked great in open areas. It's definitely a frequency-based communicator, kind of in the same kind of form as a walkie-talkie, maybe, to where, when we were inside the vessel, like in the different floors and stuff, it was very hard to get messages to go through a lot of the walls and things of that sort. But if you're in an open air setting, it works great. And they now have created several new ones, and there's a new type of this product called a mesh, and a mesh is kind of an interesting product in its own, and I'm actually looking forward to getting some of these. What it does is, instead of having, so the old one that we had was the first generation of it, and it basically bounces from A to B, and that's it. So you have to have a line of where the frequency can get from one directly to the other. And if you're blocked in any way or you can't do it, then you can't really communicate as well. Well, the mesh network, this new Gotenna mesh that they have, the mesh part of it, basically, something I learned is it will actually use if more than one family, let's say, has a mesh, a Gotenna mesh. So let's just say, Noel, my son and I have our Gotenna mesh, right? And then you and your teenage correspondent has another Gotenna mesh. And then let's just say we're in in a foreign country, and we're in a open downtown area or something, and then let's just say that there's 15 or 20 other people that have these Gotenna meshes spread out all over the city. Well, it's kind of like a repeater or a cell tower, to where the frequencies will bounce between any nearby mesh until it gets to the destination it's supposed to go to. And so theoretically, the more mesh networks you have in an area, the longer your range can be. And there's been some where it's reached up to, I think I saw one that reached up to 9 miles or something like that. And so, it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's something I'm looking forward to trying. And I wanted to kind of introduce it this episode because we used it on the cruise, but I think I've told you in a couple of months, we're heading out to a couple of different foreign countries, and we're going to try them there. And so I will definitely give you an update when I get back about how well they were used in a different country, and kind of what we used it for, and some tips and tricks. But it's called Gotenna, and it's a like I said, it's not a crowdfunding type of thing. It's an actual, legitimate product now. But it's a neat little product. It's unique. Kind of serves a niche of, when you don't have cell service. I've also seen people using this when they're hiking or camping in the way out in the outdoors where there's no cell towers or anything. They're using that too. So anyway, it's a pretty neat thing. Gotenna, GOTENNA.com is the name of the website. But it's just kind of a neat way to be able to keep in touch with people. And the other nice thing about it is there is a feature on their app that if you're lost maybe, or if you're trying to get other people to meet you somewhere, you can actually share your GPS location. And it's only to the people you send it to. So it's not open for everybody else, for your privacy, but you can send it to somebody else that's in your network, so they can come find you, or if you're lost, can kind of tell you how to get certain places. And so it's a neat little thing. I think it's going to be pretty useful. They've used it actually. I heard in Puerto Rico when that hurricane happened, they shipped a bunch of these Gotennas down there for people to be able to communicate when all the power grid was down. Cool. So it's kind of neat thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this thing goes. And I will tell you, I had a little bit of a hard time when I was pairing it. For some reason, the first generation I had didn't pair well with my phone when I was trying to use my phone number to pair it. But they also have another, I guess you'd call it a master code per antenna that you could put in, and it worked like a charm. But anyway, I tried to get on support to see if the guys could help me. And I can tell you that they have a top-notch support that literally will get back to you within an hour of when you message them. And so not only is the product cool, but I think their support team is really good and friendly and helpful. And they want to learn when there's something wrong, because they're wanting to develop their apps to be better. And so they're wanting to learn all the tips and tricks, and they wanted me to send them a video of what was going wrong so they could really work on it. So I thought it was really cool. So anyway, that's the Gotenna. So I thought I'd just introduce that to everybody.
Thanks, Very cool. Thank you for that, Keith.
Yeah, it's kind of different. So I'll give you an update how it works in the different countries that we go to. But it's a really neat feature that really serves a niche, I think, that's going to be a kind of a neat deal.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to hear how it works over there. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I like the mesh idea too. We have kind of basically just like a bunch of transponders walking around, and
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. You're basically your own, you're your own repeater. You're your own network to bounce other. I mean, and so people all over that have these things can use your tower, so to speak, on your person to bounce their messages. And the more you have, the bigger this network gets, the further you can reach. So it's kind of neat, really is.
Yeah, very cool.
So I'll tell you though. But before I go to town, I got a lot of laundry to do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. And do you know why my washing machine isn't draining?
No clue.
I don't know.
Well, and more importantly, has anybody seen my hamster? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I love how Keith segues into his jokes. It kills me every time.
I know.
Hey guys,
It's very seamless.
how did Darth Vader know what Luke got him for Christmas?
He felt his presence.
Yep, you're right.
Did we do that one already?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we did.
We've done that one already, haven't we?
Star Wars episode.
That was the one that remember we had. That was where we had our guy that emailed us. That one of our listeners gave that joke to us.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, but it's still a good one.
Yeah.
It's still funny.
It really is.
Okay,
Do you guys know what kind of magic? You know what kind of magic cows believe in?
Mujik.
Moodoo.
Ah, crud.
Did I do it?
Yeah,
Man,
you did.
Keith,
Was it really?
on fire?
I'm on fire.
All right, Keith. Fine. You know what? You know what you do when a blonde throws a grenade at you?
I don't know.
You pull the pin and throw it back.
So our teenage correspondent has one, right?
Yes, she does.
All right,
let's
the
hear it.
waiter says, "Do you want a box for your leftovers?" And I say,
Oh wait. The question is, do you want a box for your leftovers? And then what do you say?
"No, but I'll wrestle you for them." I didn't like this one.
Huh?
I didn't like this one.
Well, find something you like.
I just searched up dad jokes.
All right, we may have to edit that one out.
Sorry.
I thought that was okay, but give us another one. We're into doing two now, just to feel better about it. So it's all good.
Okay.
Steve, you were about to say one.
Yeah, what do you call a can opener that doesn't work?
Can opener.
Opener.
The teenage correspondent
Must be
from
on the
downtown.
Oh my gosh.
All right, go for it. All right, so the teenage correspondent's got one here.
Okay.
What do you call an alligator in a vest?
An alligator in a vest.
An investigator.
Oh,
Good job.
that's good. That was
good.
awesome. I'm not even going to try to top that one.
Investigator. That's great.
That's actually really good. Good job, teenage correspondent. Mic drop again on the teenage correspondents.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I came back from my other one.
You
Yeah.
did. From the ashes. You rock.
Yes. It was very nice.
So
Well, hey, go ahead.
That's it. Yeah, you read my mind. Do it.
Go for it, Steve.
Well, guys, I enjoyed it. Episode 20 is in the bag. Keith, do you want to send us the rest of the way home?
I think we should. 20 down and hopefully many more to go. We sure appreciate everybody listening. Please continue to give us feedback. Noel and Steve, this has been a pleasure, and I have had a blast so far doing this with you guys, and I look forward to many more with more of our buddies too.
Same here, man. It's been fun.
And thanks again to everybody. Yeah, many, many more. And thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. We sure had a blast visiting with you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, leave us some feedback, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All Testosterone Zone podcast episodes are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve unless otherwise noted.
The opinions expressed in the Testosterone podcast are our own and not those of our employers, families, parents, kids, dogs, cats, your mom, or any other entity Noel, Keith, or Steve are affiliated with now, in the past, or in the future, or ever.
No, you have to stop it, right? Don't you have to stop it, Noel?
Yeah.